All right, boys. Good to see everybody here. Welcome back to Brews with Dube. It's been a long time, but we've gone nowhere. Wheels are turning in the background, and we're here today with Brian Riley, the captain of the ship, and Steve Martacchio, who's the heart and soul of Raider Nation. And,
ready to go.
Yours truly. So look at him. He's prepared, unlike
I'm ready.
my schlub ass that just got back from Costco. Which was an experience unto itself, as it is every Saturday that I get out there. But anyway, boys, it's always great to be with you. And hope everybody out there is doing well. A big shout out to Ben Swinski.
Yeah, Bubba.
I think we might as well go ahead and mention him right away. We've been following your story and doing our very best to send positive vibes. And I know that only means so much, but maybe it means a lot to see that many people who have outpoured from our group and from your personal life. I think it's been inspiring. And I just want to say, man, keep going, keep fighting that fight. You're a hell of a teammate.
You're showing the warrior spirit, buddy, that embodies a little bit of what we try to be. I think it's awesome. You're the man. And
he has evolved as a great leader in this group. You know, Brian's made him an admin on the page and for good reason. He's smart. He's funny. He's got great ideas. He's a hell of a pitcher. He's a hell of a teammate. He's a hell of a man. And so, Benny, if you get a chance to watch this, it's all about you, brother. And you know, I think about all the people that we've lost in our group. But we've got fighters, and we're gonna keep fighting, and we're gonna find our way through this for you and for your family and for this team. So
yeah, and really a shout out too to your family. You know, you can't get through something like that without a great support system. Any little bit that this little Raider Nation can lend to that, we're happy to do it, but it starts and stops with Steph and your kids and those folks that are closest to you that really hold you up through the tough times and stuff like that. And Steph, thanks to you for giving us sort of those updates in the middle when Ben wasn't up for it. It means a lot to us to be able to just keep track of for some of us, someone I've known for so long, and for others who have got to know him through this tournament and through this group. It's just important to us, and we just send nothing but love and positive vibes, buddy.
All right, well said, Junior, for sure. So what we wanted to do today is just chit-chat a little bit, but mainly wanted to talk about the summer game that we have coming up in Cooperstown, the last ride game, and just give some updates, tell you where we're at, you know, and I know there's a lot of questions probably out there in Raider Nation, you know, what ifs. So we're going to try to cover a lot of that stuff, go over the roster, talk about some guys, and just continue to prepare. And you know, maybe that's just one thing I want to say. And I know Mike Maier, one of our true leaders, captains, one of our all-time greats, Infield Hall of Famer, Athletic Hall of Famer, he's all about preparation. And, you know, he said to me in private and, you know, out loud too, man, I don't want to go there and look pretty. I want to go there and go to war and be prepared and go win. Yep. So I know right now he's training for some physical feats that, you know, he's famous for. You know, he's swam the English Channel. He's swam around Manhattan multiple times. He's getting ready for – I don't want to reveal what he's working on. Yeah. You know, if he wants to talk about with us in a future episode, I'll let him share about that. But he's battling his ass off. And so I think we all owe it to ourselves, you know, number one, for our own wellness, our own lifestyle, but also to put the best version of us possible on the field in July. Is what we all ought to be working on now, you know. So just a shout out to all the guys that are going to be on the roster or possibly on the roster. Just stay busy, work out, try to get some swings. And Mike and I want to organize some workouts, Tosh, too, in the Enfield area coming up on Sunday. It looks like Sunday is going to be a good day, maybe Sunday morning or afternoon. We'll figure it out. But if we could throw together 4 or 5 or 6 Sundays, just throw and take some swings, even if it's into nets. You know, we can use Enfield High, we can use wherever. Yeah. That'd be awesome. It'd be great to get together too, but just to do baseball type activities. So that's where we're at. So Riles, if you want to talk a little bit about the agenda, just kind of go over a couple of the talking points for today.
Yeah, so I think we're going to set up, we're going to discuss the date of the actual tournament, how you guys want to handle that as far as booking your rooms. If you guys want to come there a day earlier, stay a day late so we can enjoy the Hall of Fame. I know it's open. I want to talk a little bit about the roster, what Brummage kind of told you, me, and Tosh as far as how and why he set it up the way he did. There's a few extra roster spots. Chief left a few guys off for the team to kind of decide the extra players that we wanted to pull in. A couple of extra arms I think we need, but when we go through that, you will see we're not weak at pitching, but we're just not as deep as I thought I would have liked. You know, I think Gouch and losing both Witten brothers is going to potentially hurt us. I know we got Mike Maier, and Medina. Like, if Freddie comes in shape, like, that's a solid three. That's a solid three rotation in a 35 and over wood bat league. Once we go over our lineup, I think that's where you're going to be surprised. Dubes, I know you've been over to Laconia with Fazina and those guys, but to me, this lineup on paper is the best alumni lineup that I have seen in the last 6 years that we've been doing this. And obviously this is something that you and I have been planning for like 15, 16 years as far as a tournament. So this has been kind of not the end game. Like, we're not going to end these tournaments or alumni weekends, but this is kind of what we've wanted to do for the last 15, 16 years, getting a travel team together, coached by Chief, coached by Charlie Ragno, Jack Taylor, all those guys.
Some of the greats. So
this is going to be a special weekend. And we talked about earlier, we weren't recording, but this is a weekend there. I don't know how we can miss. Like, I would never miss this game. It would have to take something seriously tragic for me to miss this game. So everyone that's on this roster that's accepted, like, I just want to give you guys a shout out about how much that means and motivates me. I'm going to work my ass off. You guys, both of you guys are the two guys that, if anyone asks me who I'd want on that field first with me, it's Dube and Martacchio, because I just know the gamers you are. I know your preparation you're going to take. You're not going to fuck around. And if it comes down to winning or losing, you're going to die on that field winning. So
that's almost guaranteed.
Yeah, man.
2 days of baseball. Not sure I'm ready for that, but I probably will die on that field. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's happening.
You're going to look good. You'll be in shape. And listen, this is why we're doing it now. We're going to give you guys 7 months to get ready for a game. We're going to do this. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. Like, I know everyone on this roster will take it serious, and they are taking it serious. So I'm ready. I know you guys are ready. So I'll talk about – I'm pulling it up, so I'm sorry. So tournament information. So it's Friday, July 2nd through Sunday, July 4th. It's a 35 and over wood division. It's pool play consisting of 3 games, and then you get ranked, and then you go semifinals into championship games. So the semifinals will either be Saturday night or Sunday morning, with the championship game Sunday afternoon or Sunday night. So just plan according. Plan until that Monday. Entry fees about $1,600. They need a full deposit of $500 before May 17th. So that's the cutoff day. So I know we put a couple months ago, but May 17th is the final deposit day. So we need $500 to send in. Other than that, man, that's pretty much the information I have. We're playing on Doubleday Field, which is pretty fucking incredible, you know? So this organization that does it, it's dugout.org. It's NABA or NABL or something like that. These guys have been doing tournaments throughout the country over the last 20 years. They've got it dialed in. I went out and I saw the Phoenix World Series, and the setup they have, guys, it blew me away. Like, they
know what to do. They know how to do this kind of day, this kind of weekend.
Yeah. It's not like a tournament thrown together by a guy that just, you know what I mean? Like, this is how they make their living. So,
and they do this. This is a nationwide series. This is one of a series of tournaments that they hold throughout the whole year across the country at a bunch of different places. Like, this is what they do.
Yeah.
Right. At some point, it would be worth, I think you did it ways back. It'd be worth putting their link, like, just back into the Facebook page, so guys can go check out, like, what they do, the other things they've done, because they talk a little bit about, I think, the COVID stuff a little bit as well. So all that stuff, they have some great information. There's a lot of good photographs, like galleries from other tournaments. Like, this is what these guys do. They know what's up.
Yeah. Yep. So I feel confident. They've been playing tournaments, you know, like, I know COVID's been kind of wiping everything out for youth sports, high school sports, but that's more of like a liability thing. So we'll probably have to sign a waiver. But they're playing. Like, they're not canceling adult tournaments. And they just had one out here. Greg Shaneda was out. My ultimate, well, you guys are going to know where I'm going with this, but they have a 60 and over division.
It's awesome.
How fucking awesome would that be if we could get
crazy.
Jack Taylor off the couch, fucking Shaneda, every one of those guys
Yep.
Oh man, that is the ultimate. Like that's
Right.
what I would pay to see. But we'll talk to those guys. You know, like we'll talk to them in New York. Be like, look, this is kind of where we want to go with it.
Right.
And let's not count out August. Like August, we're still working on some shit for a game at the Hollow. There's some stuff behind the scenes that I can't really discuss now. I'll talk to you guys offline about it. But it's exciting news that could potentially happen. But other than that, I'm ready to get into the lineup if you guys want to shoot the shit a little bit about our team.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Yep.
So it's not in any order. These are just the order that we kind of went through with Rummage, and I just put them down on my phone and who's confirmed, who's not. These are all the guys that are confirmed. So first guy we're going to talk about, Ray Turk.
Durock. Just mashes. Wakes up swinging.
Still hit. You know, like he can still hit. I'm thinking Turk probably gets penciled in middle infield somewhere, probably second base.
Yep.
But that's a bat you're probably putting in the 2 spot, right?
Yeah.
Great spot for him. Yep.
Perfect spot for him.
We got Tosh. I had him penciled in as my leadoff hitter, center field, outfield. Then you got Dubes. I got you in at the 3-hole, and these are just mine. Like this is just me fucking around. But I got Dube playing either first base, outfield. Like Dube can play anywhere.
Yep.
And then who do you think I got 4? Like where's your 4 batter, Dubes?
Well, I mean, if you have Pat Burns and he's coming, and I'd probably use him there, or Mike Tomalonis. I know Mike's more of a doubles guy, kind of like me, but
even Boise, if Boise shows up and can get himself in some shape, I mean, Boise was as devastating a hitter in that group as any of those guys, right? You got Boise,
for sure.
Boise Burns, Pelletier's a great 5 guy.
Yeah, 5.
Even, Aggie's got some pop.
Dude, Aggie.
He's one of the younger guys,
Listen, Aggie is probably, and I'm not taking anything away from anyone, but Aggie still plays. Like Aggie's probably in the best baseball shape of anyone in the group.
I agree. I think Aggie is the best ball player, ready to go right now.
100%.
All around, can play a bunch of spots. Yeah.
If you batted him third, so you want him as close to the top as possible.
Yeah.
If he's playing, I'd bat him third, and then I could bat fourth, and then we fill in after that. Honestly,
listen,
I like
you could throw him in the 1 spot, drop me to 9, drop me to 7, just to sort of flip the lineup a little bit too. I mean, I have no predisposition. Aggie fucking can ball. That's it.
He's your top guy.
Stay away from my 9th spot. Just back up.
I'm just saying.
Back off.
Listen,
right.
7's a good spot to flip a lineup too. 7's a good spot to start. It's not bad.
But you talked about Boise. So Eric Boise is one of those guys that people tend to forget because he's not very active on the page.
Yep.
But he's come out the last couple times, like Eric works his ass off for his family. Like his priority is his family and his work, which I respect. There's no one I have coached, and I've seen a lot of players from Enfield High. Obviously I haven't seen everyone, but Boise's on a very short list of probably the best players I've seen play at Enfield High.
Yep.
Catcher, could hit, great teammate. And I'm not like bad mouthing him, but he was a dumbass like all of us. But his priority, it wasn't books, it was baseball, hitting, and just playing with his boys. I think Eric Boise is one of those guys that could transcend any of those eras and fill in on any one of those decades.
Yeah.
I hope Eric Boise comes. He's one of my favorite players. Yeah. But you're right. If we can get him, we don't need him to catch. We got a couple of guys that can catch. We need Eric to hit.
Yep. Yeah, DH. We hit for a pitcher, period.
Yeah. And Dubes, I saw those wheels turning when Martacchio said Aggie's probably like the most in shape, and you're like, fuck that. I'm going to be ready. So
I said game ready. That's what I said.
And I agree.
And I saw it. It's like, oh, I love it. So
listen, that's the one thing in this lineup. There's a couple of us that are rockheads that do not pay attention to the number associated with our age, that are going to try to come and compete like we were still 25.
I fully plan.
I know I'm that way. I know Dubes is that way. I know you're that way. We may, like I said, die on that field trying. I'm up for that. But my whole thing is just like you said, buddy. We got 6 months to be able to get ready to play somewhere between 3 and 5 games.
Yeah.
My arm doesn't have anything more than that in it, but I will be ready to do that. That's what I'm ready to do.
So listen, like, it's funny that we're taking 25 guys. So you don't have to play every game.
Yep.
Like, give your legs a rest, give your arm a rest. Like, Tosh, I know obviously you're a center fielder. You're one of the all-time greats, but you have Aggie that can play center field. Tom Malone.
Yep.
Dude, like, the way this roster is kind of designed, I love it because Aggie can play short. Turek can play short. Walsh can play short. I can
Turek can play third. We got a bunch of flexible guys.
So,
Dubes can play first. Dubes can play any of the outfield.
Yeah.
Tom Alonis, I know, he might carry around a few extra LBs these days, but Mike still is pretty fleet of foot. We've seen that in a couple of the last times when he's gotten out in the field and played outfield. Mike can still go play, 2 outfield positions.
So listen, I talked to Tom Alonis. We have a thread. It's me, Tom Alonis, Gouch. Like, we have a thread, and we talk all the time. And I'm not making a joke right here. Tom Alonis has been getting into shape. He's been riding the bike. He's been running.
That's great.
Make all the jokes you want. I think the more positive we are with all of our guys, like, just encouraging them to do it, Tom Alonis is going to come ready to play.
Well, he still can rake. I know that. I don't care however shape he's ever been in. He's one of the guys in all of our games. I don't know if Mike's ever gone hitless in any of the games he showed up for, be honest with you.
I think Hurlburt and Noel still have nightmares about that rocket he crushed to win the game.
Right? And he crushed that. They're lucky that game was in the dome. I would have walked home.
That ball would still be rolling.
Seriously.
And guys, another quick story on Tom Alonis too. Obviously, we know that hit. I mean, Jesus, the brass balls that it took. Right? I mean, think about it. We were rolling, but we still needed that guy to finish it, and he was the guy. And so we were in Laconia, not this past season, this season before, and we faced a former minor league pitcher who still was on top of his game. I don't know, this guy was probably 42 or whatever, 3/4 arm, throwing hard, over 80, and had a slider, and it didn't get behind in the count ever. So to hit against a guy like that is almost impossible. So I think we had 3 hits in the game. We lost 2-1 or 3-1, but Mike had 2 out of the 3 hits. And we're talking beautiful line drives, drive over the shortstop's head, line drive into right center field. Mike put the ball on the bat. It doesn't matter who's pitching, doesn't matter what the spot is.
We got a couple of guys like that. Like Pelletier to me is another guy. He'll show up in shape, and he's another dude who can hits. He's got that smooth swing. Mike's, and he can play a couple outfield spots too. So we got some nice flexibility, without a doubt, built into that lineup. Yeah,
Dennison left, Dennison right, Dennis at first, Dennis at DH.
Yep.
Those 4 spots, Mike all over the outfield, DH, whatever, so.
So unfortunately, we lost Fazina. Fazina's got some prior commitments. I think he is going to run the Trump 2024 re-election campaign. So he's not with us in July.
That's too bad.
It's too bad, but I had to go externally because I think a catcher over 35 in Enfield High, it was going to be hard to find one, So we went out and we got Jeff. Sorry, guys.
Yep.
Jeff Maier, Mike's brother.
Yep.
He's going to fill in to catch once in a while.
Nice.
And we'll talk about Jeff later, but Michael Kinslow, I used to work with Mike out in Los Angeles. He's from the South. He's a prototypical Southern baseball player. He's like the Southern version of Mark Dube. I swear to God, like when you guys meet this kid, you're going to be like, dude, this is Dube from the South. Fucking grinder. I text him and he immediately, yeah, man, I'm there. What do you need? I need you to catch. Yeah, I'll get catches.
That's awesome.
What do you need for me to pay? Like, gamer, in shape, and he will catch 5 games in a row if he needs to. He will die on that field. I promise you, I'm not bringing in a dud.
That's huge.
Yeah, there's 2 non-Raiders. One's Kinslow, who I'm not worried about, and obviously the other guy you guys already talked about is Pat Burns.
Yeah.
Yep.
If Burns comes ready to play, Burns is one of the best players I've played with.
Yep.
And Burns has always been a gamer.
Always. Great
Big
target
time.
at first base.
Yep.
Great hitter.
And a good and just he's a good teammate, man.
He's a
Great teammate.
A lot of dumb laughs sitting on a bench with him in the Twilight League. That's for sure. Between
Always
innings,
wanted him on your
mean?
team.
Yeah.
Yep.
So obviously, Rob Witten is out. So we're not talking about Rob. Unfortunately, Rob's a great guy. Lenny Witten, still on the fence. If we can get Lenny or Goucher, we have a legit shot at winning this tournament.
Yep.
That's just depth.
Yeah.
But I think our ace right now is Mike Maier.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Maier's confirmed, and Maier's getting ready. Another rockhead like us, just wants to play. Maier's another one of my old favorite players. I used to coach when he played in his prime on that 01 team and the 2000 team, and just a great dude, a guy that you want in your dugout. He's your guy that you want on the mound against that pro player, Dubes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
So
he's really dialed his control in really well, man. In Laconia, every year playing with him, he's kept us right in the game. And unfortunately, we haven't given him enough offensive support. It's so hard with the wood bat, and there's some good pitching up there.
Yeah.
But as Brian said, we've got a real solid lineup, and that'll help.
And I'm sure we'll see some decent pitching in this tournament. There's no doubt. You're going to see a couple guys that are still dealing, 35, just ain't that old, to be honest with you. So you'll see some guys throwing some stuff.
So we were on the line, like 40 and over, 35 and over. But if we went 40 and over, we wouldn't have had Maier, Medina, Walsh, TJ.
Those are guys we need.
And we need those guys.
So that's why we decided to go 35 and over. I think, again, that's the only thing we're going to focus on getting ready. So I'm stoked to have Maier. Medina, all time. You guys know Medina's resume.
Yep.
I don't have to really talk about Medina's resume. I need to talk about Medina now. Like, if Medina gets in shape, if he gets his arm, he's ready to go, and he's ready to throw, and he can give us 6 innings.
Oh, my God. It'd be great.
And Medina can hit. Like, Medina's
Yes,
ball.
he can.
The ball comes off Medina's bat like a rocket ship.
Big time.
Yeah, so he's a weapon, but again, this kid has to take it serious. He's got to get in shape. I think from his Facebook post, it looks like he's losing some weight. And if we get any version of Freddie that can potentially go 6 to 10 innings, we got a shot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Without a doubt.
Jeff Maier, we talked about him. Jeff, utility guy, third base, good bat, still in great shape. He can catch a little bit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But he can play anywhere. And I've never seen Jeff play like in high school. I don't really know a lot about Jeff. From what I've seen in the tournaments, Jeff's still in pretty good shape.
Yeah. He had at least 2 hits, I think, in the game, that 80s, 90s game.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure. And
we ended up throwing him out at first because of that short right field on one of them, but that should have been a hit too,
Yeah.
So
you got to do that, Dubes, in New York if we could get a chance.
Yeah, if I'm playing right, I'm going to cheat up. And listen, I actually learned a lot of that gamesmanship, because that's not something you would do when we played in our heyday. But when you play adult baseball, when I was playing in Western Mass with Mike Maier, he'd be on the mound and I'd be playing right. And he'd say, Dubes, he'd start placing me for every guy. First of all, he knew where they were going to hit the ball. These fuckers would have me playing right behind second base. And I'd be like, shit, really? And then boom, there it was right in my glove. Or boom, there it was. I was fielding a ground ball, throwing a guy out at first.
Yeah.
So you really don't need to be playing some deep 280 right field. There's just nobody who will ever hit it out there.
Yeah.
Right.
So you cheat up and you become a second infielder. And you can, with my arm and everything, it's almost like you're a weapon.
Yeah.
So I'll do it. It's fun. It's real fun.
I'm excited about it. I'm actually more excited than I thought I was going to be, for starters. I was in from the get-go, but when the wife delivered on Christmas Day, a little request I put in that I was like, I don't know, it's 50-50. Maybe I get it. Maybe I don't. I've done nothing but this. So, I'm working from home like everybody else. This sits right in my little office that I got, and I pick it up probably like once a day. I got the hats hanging up all over the place. My wife's like, you're an idiot. I love it. I'm just excited about it.
I think you called it out earlier with Ben's family and Ben's wife, and I'm calling out your wife. Like, I love it when the wives and the families support us playing with our friends. I
Yep.
I love how they understand. So a shout out to everyone. My wife's the same way, man. Like, she's like, yeah, go play. Like, I want you to go. I want you to have a good time. No, I don't want to be there. I want you to go there and hang out with your friends, play, win. Like, don't go and embarrass yourself. I was like, no, not happening. So listen to me. I'm in fucking kill mode. I need to compete. Like, and I know Dube's the same way. I know Martacchio's, like, everyone on this roster is the same way. Yep. So I can't wait to go out and fucking throw rockets across the infield. So we talked about Burns, talked about Aggie, talked about Tom Alonis, Mike Mersick I played with. Mersick's on the squad. Mersick's another outfielder, solid bat. Good teammate, great teammate. I played with Mike since Little League. And another guy I can't wait to hang out with, play, and just see him on the field again. Like, so talked about Boise, Justin Walsh, utility guy, can play anywhere.
Yeah, Walshy will be a big hit.
Yeah, great bat.
Yep.
Talked about Pelletier, Glenn Art. Glenn Art's been Glenn's been one of our best and biggest supporters of this tournament for the last 6 years.
Best teammate you could ever hope for, too. Jesus, so great, easy to be around. I just loved Glenn to death. And if I could say a word about Walsh, because I got to know Walsh through all of this, and he's played Laconia a few times. He played against Windsor with us.
Yep.
I'm not sure I've found a better little ball player in these new relationships than that playing next to. He played second when I played first. Just rah, running his mouth, hustle, steal bases, diving in the dirt in a ball in the hole that he probably won't get to. He's diving anyway. Like, I love that kid. That kid probably belonged in a trench in World War I somewhere. Like, just a freaking phenomenal dude. Like, everybody is, but that kid has really just stuck out to me. He glows on the field. It's been an honor to play with that dude. And so if I get to play with him again, man, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, he's gonna fit good.
So listen, I got a funny story about Walsh. I used to coach Walsh, and I've said this time and time again. And Justin Walsh for me is my favorite player that I've ever coached, because he's always done anything that you ask him. So when I was a senior, me and Ferry played up the middle, and there was a game where ball hit up the middle, and we both kind of looked at each other like, who's gonna get it? Let the ball go up the middle. Like, Brummage lost his shit.
Shit happens.
We came back, and he literally made me and Ferry stay after. It was a bus ride home. I'll never forget this. So we stayed home. We stayed after the game, and he hit about 500 balls up the middle and made us dive every time. Like, concussions, we're talking, like, me and Ferry. But I've never not dove after a ball after that practice. So I did that drill with John Bedard and Justin Walsh probably like once or twice a week religiously. Like, rain, like, we never canceled practice. The year I coached, we never canceled practice. It was like, you have the announcements, hey, boys soccer, varsity baseball, girls softball, and they went down, canceled, JV baseball. No, you're still practicing. So these guys can tell you the story. This is a true story. So we just practiced for like 2-3 hours. I didn't work. All I wanted to do was play baseball, coach, because I still played. So we just had the best time. And that team for me with John Bedard, Walsh, Keenan, Nick Latta was on the team.
Yeah, that's a good name.
Fucking great group of kids, man. And
awesome.
I will always go down. Like, I loved all those kids I coached. But Justin Walsh, for me, the best kid I coached and one of the all-time gamers that I've ever seen and played with.
Yep.
Fits in well.
So, yeah, Glenn, one of my best friends, great player, great teammate, can play anywhere, will do anything you ask of him. And if he starts drinking again, like, he can have a fun time with us. Listen, TJ Smith, another kid I coached, and I know you guys played with in Laconia.
Yep.
Yes.
Fucking gamer.
Yep.
What do you got to say about him, Dube? Tosh, anything?
I love his tats. But he's one of the guys that I didn't know at all until we started this. And we've had a couple good conversations, just sort of shooting the shit on the side. It seems like a really good guy. Glad to have him sort of be part of this group.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just a gamer, gritty, dirt bag. What is
dirt dog?
Dirt dog.
Yeah.
He will leave that field dirty for sure.
Every time. I love it.
He's the guy that I personally want to be standing next to in the dugout area under two conditions. One, if I just hit a double and I scored and I'm glowing from that, or if I struck out and I feel like a fucking loser. He is going to talk, and he's going to keep you company, and he's going to make you feel better or make you feel even better after you had a shining moment on the diamond. That's the kind of teammate this guy is. You're happy to see him in the parking lot. You're happy to see him in the dugout when you're just standing there taking it all in. It's freezing cold or whatever. I'm just happy. There's a few pictures actually where I'm standing next to TJ that Phil took. You know, I saved all the pictures onto my phone, and there's a few of me standing next to him, and I remember explicitly just fucking running, just talking and hanging out with this kid. This is a guy you want to hang out with.
Yeah, TJ was a great athlete, man. He was a I know he was two, maybe three-sport athlete, but he came over from Fermi, and when we played Fermi in that game, I played short, he played third, and just his communication, the way he played third, like, TJ can still play, man. He's got to get in shape, like all of us, but like if he does, great asset, great teammate. I'm stoked he's on the squad. Randy Ladd. Randy's coming. Randy can catch. Yeah, man. Randy's the OG.
Yep.
So,
He is. He'll be a guy like, you know, Randy plays more than a lot of us do, quite frankly, still.
Yeah.
And he's got great stories, man. He's the dude you want to be sitting next to when you got a little bit of downtime. He'll tell you some stories. That man has been around. He's done a few things that none of us even could think of. Right. It is just good times with Randy. He's just a nice man too, man. I can't wait for that.
Great guy. Great book of knowledge when it comes to Enfield High sports.
Right? Right?
Look, I know
he's
Randy's
got such a great perspective too, because he's got some of the old school knowledge of sort of the guys that came just before him, like Ragno and Angelica and some of those really great teams. He's just right in the mix of all that stuff. He's such a great link to that part of our sort of Raider history. And he's always willing to sort of talk to you about it, which is pretty cool.
Yep, absolutely. So I know Randy's going to catch a few, listen, I hate saying he's not going to be able to catch 5 games, but realistically, I don't think anyone can catch 5 games. So he's going to need a break. He'll be out there with us. He'll be gaming. So next one's Mike Maier. Dubes, you know Mike Maier better than all of us because you've played with him, you talked to him. I recently started talking to him as far as getting like some workouts in. So if you want to talk about Mike, like I know Mike is one of the better athletes that's come out of Enfield High, but I've never played with Mike. I know Mike only hits it to shortstop during batting practice because he hit like 100 balls to me in a row. If you want to talk about Mike, like I know Mike's going to be our 1 or 2 pitcher on that mound. He can play the field. He can still hit.
Yeah. So this guy is as tapped into persistence, withstanding pain. But he, you know, outwardly he's like the nicest guy, you know, like, you know, just so easygoing, but inwardly he doesn't tolerate anybody's nonsense, bullshit. Like, I'll give you a story because he won't reveal, there's parts of people you only see unless you have a relationship with them. So we're playing on this team, the Bullies, Browns, it's a team out of Agawam in Western Mass, 25 and over. So I got into this team through Mike, you know, and we had a guy on the team who was primarily a pitcher only, but he gets a hit, he gets on first base, and we're sitting on the bench together, and he says, you know, like, oh boy, you know, you got to watch this guy here. He's kind of a shitty base runner, you know, but he's not saying anything, just kind of telling me. And I don't know this guy from Adam, you know. Right. So sure enough, they fucking throw over, about pick him off. And so Mike's like, all right, come on, you know, let's look alive here. You know, you got to be ready to roll. And I think they picked him off, you know, or he gets caught in a rundown. And there's a lot of tomfoolery in these leagues. They throw over, it's fucking delayed steals, this guy gets caught napping. But Mike is into the game. He knows everything that's going on. And then lastly, he's got a rubber arm. And it's because he's always constantly training his body for all kinds of shit. Right. But he played in 2 leagues the year we played together. He pitched 9 innings in the morning in a different league. He shows up to our game and throws another 6 or 7. We're ahead like 8-2. He comes out. Somebody comes in. We had a crafty lefty come in and finish the game. He could have finished that game too. And guys, it's not because he throws pus. He still throws, in the low to mid 70s when he needs to. He has an eephus curveball. He never gets behind in counts typically. He'll give up a hit once in a while. He'll give up a double. But then after that, he'll settle down. And then all of a sudden, it's like, holy shit, we just won the game 4-1. And he went the whole way. So, anyway.
Yeah, if you have any questions about how to get prepared and you need some advice, he's the kind of guy in the group to reach out to. Just be like, hey, man, what are you doing? How are you prepping? What's your schedule a little bit? And, he already put on the page, I don't know if it was November or early December, videos of him over at Fermi showing you how to turn the lights on in case you want to go throw a ball at the wall or go hit some balls off the tee. This is a guy, like you said, Dubes, he's in constant preparation for the next thing. So I think, Mike, I'll end up bumping into you at some point over at Fermi because that's about the only place I go and throw the ball up against that wall too. So, we'll catch up at some point, but he's the kind of guy, for me, I draw some inspiration from those guys that just know how to grind. And that's how I put Mike is an elite athlete who knows how to tap into what he's got in the reserves by grinding, and he just grinds. He might not be better than you athletically. I think he probably is, but he knows how to out-grind and work you better than anybody else. And those are the kind of guys, man, when push comes to shove and it gets tough at the end of a game, it's the kind of guy you're gonna get to lean on, which will be great for that kind of tournament, right? Condensed, packed thing. You're gonna be asking guys to do a little bit extra at certain times, and he'll be the first guy raising the hand.
Yeah, well said, Stephen. And if you want to just look at the Maier family in general, I don't know if you can say that 4 brothers. I know Dombeck had a big family, a lot of siblings. They were all freaking studs too. But Jeff Maier, Rick Maier, Al Maier, they were all multi-sport athletes, multi-sport captains, multi-sport all-conference. They all played college, multiple, at least one sport, if not multiple. 2 of them are in the Hall of Fame. You can make a case the other ones belong in there too. I mean, they're just insane. And they still can play. Jeff is golfing in all over the freaking country in tournaments. He still plays baseball tournaments with his brothers and in his own leagues, wherever the hell he is. He's like, these guys are all the most interesting men in the world. You know what I mean? They are. Fucking hang out with them for 5 minutes, especially when they're together.
Yeah.
And I know that's an episode we got to make. We got to get as many Maiers on as we can with me and with all of us and talk to these guys. But they're phenomenal. They're family men and they have children and they have successful careers. Their dad was a fucking gamer, still is. He'd give him the ball in the corner. He's going to drain a 3 every time. Even if he just throws it over his head. Anybody who played Parkman back in the day on Saturdays, that family's just fucking blessed athletically. Unbelievable.
And you're right, dude. They are a hoot. I spent a few minutes with them at the Summers Nights of Columbus when we had the after thing there on the bar side. And I was like, I can't hang with these boys. I got to get back over here.
Drink a Bud Light with them for 5 minutes and you'll hear about some shit in Panama or some fundraising effort they have going on, or, fucking Mike Maier swimming the English Channel, his body greased up. I mean, they're just doing shit that, like, they're, the shit you read about, they're doing it. It's just cool clan there.
Yeah, man. So another guy I'm excited to play behind, Stephen Hurlbert. He's on the squad. Hubby, one of the best guys I've known, always gives me shit. He'll tell you he's honest. But Hubby, listen, I don't remember Hubby playing in his high school days. Like, I don't. Like, I used to go to those games. But from what I've heard from, like, Noel and just from some of the guys in that era, Hubby was a really solid first baseman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great fielder.
Every one of them who played infield said that.
Yeah.
Any just within 3 feet of him anywhere, and he's getting it.
I mean, he did miss one directly out his chest for me, but, like, listen, I chalked it up with old age. Old age, his eyesight's not as good as it used to be. Reflexes.
Yep.
I'll give him that one. Hubby, I'm gonna throw another light. But
he coached us too. That was the other fun part for the 3 of us, right? He was one of our Twilight League coaches. We had some fun, man. seeing him get tossed out. What was that game he got tossed? It was like hotter than Hannah. What was that game?
That's when York threw up on Dennis Hurlbert's head.
In Portland.
Portland, that was it. That's right. We were in the middle of nowhere. That was funny.
So Dennis Hurlbert will kill me for telling this story. I'm going to tell it really quick. So we had a doubleheader. The night before, we went out and partied hard. Like, we went out and partied like 40-something days in a row. Remember that?
Yep.
So we had a doubleheader earlier that next morning, and we had to go pick up Dennis. And we pull into Dennis's driveway. We're honking. We're knocking. We're not like nothing, right? So we knock on. Remember, he used to live in the garage.
And he had the garage room.
Yeah. So I knocked on the window, like knock, 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 knock. Like, I'm like, what the fuck? Finally, the window flies open, and hubby sticks his head out, and he's covered in vomit. Rich York was sleeping in his bed. Dennis was on the ground, and York had like hunched over the bed to throw up, and he threw up all over Dennis.
I love it. I love it.
And then we had to play in like 100-degree weather, and Richie York was like shaking at second base because he was still drunk, throwing up. Like he didn't make it through that game. So that's an all-time funny Mets story that we can talk about all night. Doobie, you know all those fucking stories. So I'm stoked.
I call Dennis is the king of the Cardinal Puff.
Oh, 100%.
That's what I know. Right?
The greatest summer of my life.
We played that a lot in his backyard, and we all crashed on the floor of that garage room more than a few times that summer.
Hey, Riles.
Yeah.
Just if I could talk about the Hurlberts for a moment, please.
Yes.
So first of all, Steve Hurlbert to me is just the salt of the earth human being. Yeah. And just for me personally, I've never had anybody believe in me probably as deeply as Steve Hurlbert. I mean, he just always said things to me, and he just says the right things. And sometimes it's like, he knows exactly how to rile me up, but he also, even to this day, as a teacher at Enfield High, and having his daughter and just the conversations we've had, he's just always been one of these people that has believed me in me in a way that has buoyed me in life. Okay, like honestly, it's that deep, and I don't know if he really realizes just how much he affected me as my Twilight coach, and just the performances I was able to kind of put up. I think Steve Hurlbert had an enormous a role in that, and I don't know if I've ever
he's got a good positive energy about him. Always
my
has.
God. Yeah. I just would have, to this day, to take a bullet for him. That's how much he believed in me and really felt like I was probably a better ball player than I was, but he made me believe that, that I was that good. And then Dennis, exactly the same. I have exactly the same opinion on Dennis. And I know Steven is a best friend of Dennis and has been our whole lives. And they're from a little bit of a different era than Brian and I, but Dennis. So when I was a dumb fucking sophomore or whatever, when I was coming into my own ranks and joining the Steve Martacchios of the world as a peer, I always looked up to Steve. I looked up to Brad Tweeley, Jamie Caminetti, all those guys, Dennis Hurlbert. They were the juniors when I was a sophomore. So I'm a dumbass sophomore sitting in the stands watching Tosh play football against Platt. And this was the afterglow of the big run they had when Junior was a junior. Now he's a senior. The team takes a little bit of a step back because they lost some big pieces.
We did.
Still had a good team though with James Gregaitis and Delaney and you, Tosh, and all the other pieces you had from your grade. But anyway, I was drinking and I was with Dennis and a bunch of there was a bunch of us there. I don't think I went up there with Dennis, but anyway, Dennis was nearby and I was eating a lollipop and I threw it and it hit the back of the head. I'm gonna leave names out of this because it's just whatever. But it was a fucking kid who was dating
give us the name. Give us the name.
All right, it was Josh Grislak. Okay,
I don't know. Fuck him.
Right, he was in your grade, Junior.
I went to elementary school with him.
All right, water to the bridge. I don't give a shit about Josh Grislak, but at the time I didn't fucking like him. He was dating my ex-girlfriend, was Holly Camilleri, and they were in a thing now. And so I'm drunk and I ate a blow pop and I gunned the stick at the back of his head and it hits him and he turns around. He's like a soccer kid or whatever. And he turns around. He's like, "Oh, who fucking threw this at me? Who fucking threw this?" And I'm like, playing dumb. And Dennis goes, what if it was me? What if I fucking threw it at you, Grizzlack? I think it was me. Was it me? I think it was me. Like, whatever. Dennis steps in and totally takes the fucking shot for me. Not that it would have been a big deal. What's he going to do? Nothing. But I just never forgot that. It was like, Doobie's drunk. Doobie doesn't like you. Doobie threw some shit at your head, and you're going to do nothing of the sort about it, you know? And it was just, this is what the Herberts would do. They stand by your side. They're not afraid to take anybody's crap, and that's that. You know, I just love
guys
those.
Guys who got your back
guys
all day long just because they're your friend.
Yes.
It might not. It didn't even matter. Didn't matter what you did, right, wrong, and different. They're gonna stand behind you and back you up, and that was that. That's how those guys roll.
So obviously, there's some behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know or they don't see. Like when we do our fundraising, Dennis has a ton of shit going on. Work, family. He definitely wants to be there with us, but every single year, Dennis has always donated, and we're talking generous amounts.
Yeah.
And that summer of the Mets, when we were with Borowski and Napolitano and Boccaccio, and like that was the best summer of my life. And me and Dennis were pretty much inseparable. Like we I'm not gonna tell it, but like we always were together drinking. One of my all-time favorites, it was Dennis Hurlburt and Dubes and Tosh. You nailed it. When you talk about the Hurlburts, I agree with everything you guys said. But Dennis has been pretty amazing to this group. So I want everyone to know that. And we've got a couple more players. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about the coaching staff that Brummage put together, which I think is fucking epic. So you still have Andrew Urak and Brett Ferry. I'll talk about Ferry because I used to play with him. Brett is another one of those gamers. He's injured. Like both of his shoulders are blown. I want him at the game because I think if we need one of those hits, you know, like a pinch hit, Brett Ferry can still hit. Like when we did the home run derbies, when we took BPs, Brett could still hit. Really smooth swing. Another one of my all-time favorite teammates I play with. I think me and Brett played up the middle more than I think I played with anyone, maybe with the exception of Turek. Another kid that will just game, but a bat that we can bring to Cooperstown for one at bat. I think Brett can give it to us. And I hope he goes. He says he was going to go, but he has some shoulder issues lately. So I don't think he's going to be able to play the field, but in the lineup, one at bat, two at bats throughout the tournament, I think could be key. And he's one of those guys you'd want up in a clutch situation. So Andrew,
and another good guy to just hang with. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just a good dude to hang with.
You got it. So
the last guy, we have about 5 roster spots open. But the last guy is Andrew Urak, one of Brummage's all-time favorite kids.
Andy!
He was one of the 2001 team. You know, he was part of that team, a great athlete. But I think Andrew just makes me laugh. I think Andrew's one of the funniest guys I know.
And Brian, when Mr. and Mrs. Brummage retired and they had a beautiful get-together, and Steven was there with me. I was lucky enough to get to sit next to Steve. And Steve did an amazing job speaking about the Brummages. But Urak spoke, and he was just unbelievably engaging, funny, captures an audience. And let me tell you something. Everybody who spoke there that night was just one after the other tremendous. And to stand out in an evening where so many people spoke so well, so funny, Urak was just like one of the stars of the show. He's just awesome.
I don't know if you guys know, but he worked for Brum like on the weekends and on the side for a long, long time. That's actually how I got to know Andrew, was through that, because he was so many years behind me with the baseball. And Andy's one of my favorites. You know, me, Andy, Rob Witten, and Tweedley have like a little golf bet that we do every year. We've been doing for probably like 5 years now. We play in the Hall of Fame golf tournament together as a group. So I've gotten to know those guys as much through that. And Andy is great. I get more just, hey, out of the blue text messages from Andy than maybe from anybody else I know. Just sort of, hey, checking in. How's the family? What's going on? We were just swapping texts the other day about, you know, getting our golf group back together. We missed it because all this COVID stuff last year. Andy is such a good human being. Has a really nice family. Shannon and the kids are really just, they're good people. He's another guy I miss seeing because of all this stuff. We always get together with the Brummages like right around Christmas time, meet them out with the Tweedleys and stuff. Just a good dude, man. And I would love to see him get in some game shape because apparently he was fast back in the day, which I do not believe. Don't believe it at all.
Look,
I heard he had jets. I
saw it. Andy had
I don't believe you. I don't care. I don't believe you. Andy, I don't believe them.
So listen, Fazina just texted me, and he says if Andy can bring his sister-in-law, Fazina's in. So you're at
love it.
Get Sarah Clark to Cooperstown. We got Fazina. So let's work on that. All right, make it happen. Fazina's in. If we get Sarah Clark to Cooperstown, so that's 20 guys. We have 5 extra guys that we're gonna vote on. We're gonna get some more arms. I think this is an arms race right now. So if we have to go outside Raider Nation to get some arms, I will. But the coaches, obviously, Chief. But Chief got LaRussa, Angelica, Jack Taylor, Charlie Ragno, Crisati, and Brad Tweedley as our coaches.
Awesome.
That is awesome.
So again, when you guys talk about that roster, our lineup could potentially be really deadly. It's about arms, bullpen strength, and getting some innings out of the guys that we need to get the innings out of.
Hey, listen, you reminding me of that coaching staff, those guys you just listed. I'm not sure that I have to play a single inning as long as I can hang out with those guys. I got about 15, 20 minutes at Grassmere with LaRussa, Taylor, and Ragno. That was probably 2 years ago now, or three times ago. And I tell you what, I haven't laughed that hard with people who at the time I didn't really know at all. Just hearing them tell stories about Chief, about some ball games, and then about afterwards. Like these guys worked together a little bit, I think, afterwards. LaRussa was getting somebody a job, and it was so much fun to sit with those guys because I had heard Brum talk about them as ball players for years. And until this thing and until that year, I don't think I had met any of them, and not certainly face to face. And I tell you what, to Dave, Jack, Charlie, and Charlie, who I stay in touch with very much, I just have, I've out of all this whole thing, those connections for me are just super special. And I hope those guys are committed to coming because it'll make that weekend, it just takes it sort of to another level. It just hugely special to have those guys involved. I will love every minute of that part in between games at night, sitting around, having a couple beers, whatever. That'll be as good as any part of the stuff on the field, man.
Yeah, love absolutely. We'll do it right. I'll reserve like an area in a restaurant or a bar for all of us. We'll see what the COVID restrictions are, but I'm sure a few of us will rent a house. Like, book your hotels now. Hubby just text me. Him and Lori already reserved their hotel room for that weekend. Nice. So find a hotel that you guys have a free cancellation policy on and just book it.
And guys, share some of that in the group just to say, hey, this is where I found a spot. Yeah. Other guys might be interested in staying near other guys and, stuff like that. I think that's one of the powers of the group right now is if you got a good spot, you got a good rate, whatever, just start sharing some of that maybe in the group to get other guys motivated too.
I'm trying to get us a brewery tour of the Cooperstown area.
Cool.
Which could be cool for one day, like a team building day. But we'll work on that. Uniforms, listen, the uniforms are designed, ready. Tosh, thank you for paying already. Tosh is the only guy that's paid. So it's $200 per player, and that includes league fee, insurance, uniforms, everything. So it's just $200. And then once I get all that in, I will order those jerseys. I've got your numbers, your sizes. We're doing the white on white. Gonna be nice. I like the tomahawk hat. I think I might do a different hat design. I don't know yet. We'll talk about it in the group, but that's still a work in progress. And this game is for families, man. I want you to bring your kids. I want all of our kids to play together.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk my brother and my nephew to come.
Yeah.
Because they're, baseball fans. We're going to be near the Hall of Fame. Like for me, like that Monday after, just like you were saying, like, I'm hoping they'll come. I'm hoping I can go to the Hall of Fame with my nephew, who's a huge baseball fan, and to share something like that with some family, just would be really cool.
Yeah, man, I think you nailed it. I think to go to the Hall of Fame with like you guys and Chief and I don't know, it's going to be a really cool experience. I get shit happens and people have prior plans, but like I wouldn't miss this. And hopefully the guys that are confirmed still stay confirmed. And then the guys that maybe potentially said no, have a change of heart and join us. But this is a weekend where I'm going to remember this. I'm stoked. I'm ready to go. And I look forward to playing with you guys again.
And listen, I think for some of those guys that are on the fence that are like, hey, I can't commit for a whole weekend around the 4th of July, come for one of the days.
Yep.
You know, it's not, I know from Enfield anyway, it's not that far.
I think it's like 5 hours.
It's like 3 hours or something.
Yeah.
It's less, 2.5 hours. It's not, you know, it's out there. It's a lot of back roads and stuff like that, but it's not that far. Even if you can just do a day, again, to be a part of it and to be part of that roster and get on the field for a couple innings or something, you know, it might be worthwhile to look at it that way too. Maybe you don't have the cash to commit to wanting to stay overnight in a place. Come for a Saturday, come for the Sunday, come for the Friday night. I don't know. You know, I don't know. Something like that is to consider as we're trying to sort of pull it together. And maybe if that helps you make a decision to be able to say yes, we know it's a tough weekend. Families do stuff. You know, maybe your Saturday is better than your Sunday or vice versa. You know, I don't know. Think about it.
Good point.
Listen, it's a great point. But I have to disagree. Don't get mad at me. Like, you're in. Fucking, if you commit, you play the whole fucking weekend. Like, I'm sorry. Like, no.
Hey, that's it. That's it, buddy. You're the chief.
Yes.
That's right.
So, great idea. I mean, we'll talk. No big deal. But guys, thanks for taking your time. I know you're busy. It's a weekend. But I wanted to do this. Everything is set, man. So we'll just stay in touch. I'll keep posting and we'll keep on this. But next Sunday, Dube, you guys talking about getting together?
Yeah, I gotta text Mike and see if it will work for him. But yeah, that'd be great. I know there's a little bit of snow in the forecast for Tuesday, so hopefully that doesn't cover the earth. But we still have the turf at NFL High, which usually snow does not stick on that very well unless we get a lot. And I don't think we're expecting a lot. So a nice turf practice where we could get ground balls, take a couple of fly balls, throw at least. And then if I can get my hands on a couple of soft toss nets, we could at least take some soft toss. So that'd be cool. That'd be the best. Just get a few T-swings, a couple soft toss swings. And so, yeah, the next couple weeks, we'll definitely put on the page, advertise it, even if it's just 5 or 6 guys that show up. If it's more, great. But if not, we can start getting some baseball activities going soon.
Yeah. Awesome, man. I look forward to it, guys. I'll keep updates.
All right, boys. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Take it easy, guys.
See you guys.
See ya.